This is instructions on how to properly set a live trap. You're going to need some fishing line, bait, and a operational live trap. These traps are designed by the manufacturer to work on a pressure plate, as most of you will know if you've ever used a live trap. Designed that the animal enters, there'll be bait in the back of the trap at the ground level. Animal should walk in, step on the plate, and the trap fire. A common problem with these traps is that even once they're set, either A, this hook that holds the door open will become rusty or corroded or even bent from other animals using it, or the firing bar or the plate itself gets something up under it, keeps it from firing. When there's something under it, like I have my finger here on this trap, that door will never go off. It will never fire because the plate won't go down and set off the mechanism. What we do to get around that is simply have a piece of your monofilament fishing line about the length of the trap itself. You have your bait, which in most cases for raccoons and opossums and meat eaters. We use sardines because it's a very good bait and it's easy to use in the trap. You take the end of the line, tie a good knot onto the finger ring of the can opener. Any kind of knot will work. You just want to make sure it's a knot that'll not slip off the bait itself. Once a can's tied and it hangs, it doesn't fall open or rip open anymore. Take the trap. The easiest way to do this is by flipping it up one end, taking the bait, sitting it in the back of the trap, taking the other end of the line down to the bottom and running it through the top of the trap. What happens is now you have a hanging bait. You'll make sure that it's almost to the back but not quite there, but far enough behind the treble plate that the animal could still step on the treble plate. Pull the line until the bait itself is about 3/4 high into the trap. Measure it off to your door retaining pin, and again tie another knot that won't slip. Take that, run it through the cage itself by the door up to the hook and make it tight. Now you have a hanging bait. Open your door and set the trap. We do this so that if the trap does malfunction from overusage or damage, or there's something on the ground sticking up that won't let the door fire, all the animal has to do now is come in, grab the bait. As soon as they grab the bait can, the door fires and locks in place. The trap still functions even though the designed firing mechanism doesn't work. It's very common, especially when dealing with raccoons. A raccoon will walk in the trap, go in this way and stop, and grab the bait and eat it while he's sitting in the trap, never touching this treble plate to make it fire. This way, if they go in and grab this can of bait, it's just gravity. You know, just the pressure of grabbing that can very easily sets that door off. Once the trap is set, always test fire it a few times just to make sure that it is functioning properly. Also, make sure that where you put your trap, your placement, is that it's in an area that's level and sturdy, where it's not going to roll over. There's nothing in the way of the treble plate. You still want to make sure that it fires. When you set it, you lift up the door guard, put your finger on the loop at the bottom, your thumb on the door plate, push in, lift up, set the door hook, let go, and the trap is set. Again, even after it's set, give it a dry fire just to make sure that it's working properly, so that you don't have to come back the next day because the trap isn't going off, or that it's going off too easily. You don't want to be able to bump it and it go off. You want to be able to tap this trap without it firing, because all they have to do is touch that can of bait and it goes off. It takes very, very little pressure. show you again in a different angle. You want to be able to bump this trap so it doesn't go off. It's very common for raccoons to get up on top and climb it. You don't want it to misfire and keep from catching the animal. But you want it loose enough that just a tug on that bait can makes the door fire and lock. Make sure that it locks in place. And that is properly set. Then it's just about placement where you're going to put the trap. I'll do a close-up on the trap itself. You see the hanging bait can by the string, about midways between the plate and the back of the trap. And you bring it up here to where it's tied off to the bait hook. And the line just runs across the top of the trap